Thank everybody for being with us here today, and in particular I want to thank General Seltzer and the Texas Board Czar Mike Banks. But let me focus on General Seltzer for a moment. I want to thank the General for his leadership, in part in running the military side of Operation Lone Star, in part because of his leadership in looking out for the best interest of his troops to make sure that they have living facilities that are appropriate for troops who are operating on pretty much a 24/7 basis. And I also want to thank the troops and soldiers of the Texas Military Department and the Texas National Guard for waging an unprecedented effort for a state to secure its own border. Remember this unprecedented effort is needed only because of Joe Biden's unprecedented open border policies. When he became president, we had the lowest illegal border crossings in about 40 years. Now, under Joe Biden's open border policies, there's been an all-time record set for the number of people crossing the border illegally. More than 10 million people have been apprehended crossing the border illegally. Think about this here in Texas. There's more than 4 Houstons that have crossed the border illegally just under the 3.5 years of Joe Biden's presidency, including people who are known terrorists, known murderers, known rapists, other people who are very dangerous, posing a danger to the people of our state, which is exactly why we have Operation Lone Star, for Texas to step up and do what the Biden administration is failing to do. And that's very simply to enforce the laws that are already on the books. Already on the books are laws that require the president to deny illegal entry, to detain anybody who does cross illegally, and then to build border barriers. He's not doing any of it. Texas is doing all of it. One thing that the National Guard and the Texas Military Department have done prolifically, in addition to the state building its own border wall, what the National Guard have done, they have built more than 100 miles of razor wire border barrier, anti-climb barrier, and other barriers that deny illegal entry into our state. And it physically puts the National Guard in a position where they're able to effectively repel and turn back people who are trying to cross the border illegally. And then, of course, there's what they did just up the road from where we are right now in Eagle Pass, Texas, in Shelby Park. About a 50-acre park is an area where sometimes the Biden administration was allowing 4,000 to 5,000 people cross a day illegally just in that one park area. The National Guard wired it shut. Now, as opposed to having 4,000 or 5,000 people crossing a day, in the last 2 months, for example, there's been an average of only about 2 people crossing the border in that 50-acre park a day. And most of those people are arrested by the Texas Department of Public Safety. If you look more broadly at what the state has been able to achieve because of the leadership, not just of General Seltzer, but because of the actions by the men and women who serve under him in the National Guard, in the Texas Military Department. You can see that over the past 2 years, illegal immigration has increased in New Mexico, Arizona, and California. At the very same time, it has gone down in the state of Texas by about 72%. That's a result of the deterrence that's been established by the Texas National Guard. And that brings us to the point that why we gather today. The troops that have been involved in this mission, especially in this particular region, they've been scattered for miles around this entire region, having to drive long distances to go to work every day and then drive back to wherever they're staying that particular night. At the end of the day, it was a very inefficient methodology to house the large number of National Guard troops who are deployed to the border. This base camp is a far superior strategy that, for one, will allow the state to be able to have our troops right on the border itself, but for another, provide the type of housing and other standards of living that improve the quality of life for the men and women who are wearing our uniform, who are serving on our border. What you're looking at is phase 1 of this 80-acre project. Phase 1, soldiers are moving in today in phase 1. It'll be about 300 soldiers moving in today. Phase 2 will be completed about 2 weeks from today. And when you have about another 300 soldiers moving in, that process will continue all the way until November, until we have this entire area with soldiers that can, at that time, house up to at least 1,700 soldiers, with the capability of increasing that on an as-needed basis. But I want to thank General Seltzer for his leadership on getting this done, knowing that he has already achieved success that no other state has ever been able to achieve in securing the sovereignty and safety not just of their state, but also of our country. But also he's been a leader as the general of these troops, having their back, making sure they have the highest quality of living so that they will have the highest quality of mental capacity as they go do battle every single day against those who are entering our state illegally. And my gratitude to you, General, for getting that done. And just know that Texas will not stop until we gain full operational control of the border in the state of Texas. General Seltzer.
Thank you, Governor. Good afternoon, everyone. What you are seeing here today, like the Governor said, is phase 1 of 6 phases that will culminate in the construction of 95 buildings on this 80-acre complex. Each phase will take approximately 30 days, and each phase adds about 300 troops to this base. The exception to this is phase 2. Phase 2 will be complete in 15 days from today because many of those structures are already being started on this base. So mid-June, you'll see another 300 troops getting off their buses and filling into this base. If you want to see a depiction off to your right, the magenta buildings on that graphic are phase 1. The yellow is phase 2. And you can see the magnitude of all 6 phases once it's built out based on what you can just see here from phase 1. What you don't see in phase 1 is below the surface. So this was essentially a farm, and the land's been tilled and rolled. All this gravel's been put down. Sewer, water, a fire hydrant system, and preparations also for being connected to the electrical grid in the city. So we'll be on complete city sewer, water, hydrant system, and then eventually electricity. Also in this phase, central to it was the perimeter fencing. Quite a large project. You can see impressive fencing with razor wire, camera systems, and light systems. Just looking around us here, you have the dining facility. It can seat 700 people at a time. This is a pavilion. The picnic tables you see behind you are really supposed to be here where we're sitting. This can be used for picnic tables, outings, put up a basketball goal, or formations. And then the pad behind you is actually the location of a fixed building that will be the gymnasium, and that will be complete in phase 2. Additionally, what we went and toured is we have 2 types of dormitories. We have the large dormitories with 34 rooms. Minimum square footage in there is 118 square feet, but every soldier will have their own room on this base. Additionally, we have staff rooms that have a larger bed, have a kitchenette, and have a shower and a bathroom. Again, for one service member. There will be no doubled up service members in this location. I'd like to move on to why we are doing this. The governor already alluded to it. It's operationally more effective and efficient to build this base here. It's right in the middle of the 1,254 miles of border that we're taking operational control of, as the governor said. He also spoke of troop travel time. Many of the troops you saw today are coming from a base in Carrizo Springs that's 45, 50, maybe by military vehicle, an hour away. So they have an hour transit time just to get to the border. Some of these 300 troops too are also coming from northern base camps, some 30 minutes to an hour away. So it's operationally efficient to have them on this border. And again, in this area, we're not just taking control and managing Shelby Park. we have 13 projects well north, well south of Shelby Park, where in conjunction with landowners who want to stop illegal immigration on their property, we're putting up anti-climb barrier and concertina wire. The other aspect of operational efficiency is we are going to move the Joint Task Force Operation Lone Star, the military headquarters, to this forward operating base. It's currently located in McAllen. It will relocate here. Along with that, we'll also relocate a maintenance hub that's in another area of the border. So now at this major base, you have a Joint Task Force headquarters, you will have a maintenance hub, and then also in all the area behind us, you also have a place where we keep most of our logistical supplies. So it's operationally more efficient and effective. The second point is it's fiscally sound. It's a fiscally sound way to house soldiers and airmen. During the course of these 6 phases, by the time this project's over, we will have shut down 3 other base camps. Additionally, we will be moving in soldiers that are staying in hotels around in regional areas. Again, these are some hotels in small towns. The last thing you want as a commander is to have your troops dispersed in hotels around the region. So we're bringing all these people in. And I'll tell you that our hotel rates, expenses since 2021 have gone up 30%. So again, it's a fiscally sound reason to do this and bring the soldiers here. We estimate that once this base camp is full and we have everybody out of those hotels and the 3 base camps shut down, we will save $11.5 million a month on housing soldiers. And that doesn't even include the fuel that they're using right now to drive and get to the border. And then lastly, and most obviously, it improves the quality of life for our personnel. I came out here yesterday. We ate in the dining facility. They were doing a rehearsal to make sure they were ready for those 300 troops today. And that staff in there is super excited to serve our soldiers. They have a chef, Chef Steve. And he's a veteran. In 2018, he was awarded the Armed Forces Chef of the Year award. So they're having chef-served meals in that dining facility. But most importantly for quality of life, again, they will all have their single room. One aspect of the military is we spend a lot of time together. We sleep together mostly, we eat together, we go to work together, in which the greatest thing you can do for soldiers is give them that one bit of privacy when they lay their head down at night. And then lastly, just have a couple thank yous. Thank you to the city of Eagle Pass. There's 18 different building permits that had to be permitted for this base camp. The sewage, the plumbing, everything has to be permitted and certified and inspected. And so this is a big project for a city the size of Eagle Pass. So we really appreciate their help in doing all that. Secondly, I'd like to thank the Texas legislature for funding Operation Lone Star. If we weren't appropriately funded, this would not exist because we would have to piecemeal this together, which again is inefficient and expensive. So thank you to the Texas legislature. And then finally, thank you to Governor Abbott. Thank you for your leadership. Thank you for your relentless efforts to secure our border. And most of all today, thank you for taking care of our troops.
Absolutely. Thank you, General. So the United States has a United States border czar. And as far as I know, the United States border czar has actually never been to the border and seen people cross illegally. Well, Texas decided we need our own border czar, someone who actually knows the border. And we were able to hire someone who worked in the Border Patrol himself for more than 2 decades. And he's been a hands-on border czar, actively and aggressively working from the border from the Rio Grande Valley all the way to El Paso, providing the state of Texas with a high level of expertise and information and advice, allowing us to operate more effectively and more efficiently, and is Mike Banks. Mike, thank you very much.
Thank you, Governor. So let me start off. I want to cover something that the Governor covered a while ago. 72%. We have decreased traffic by 72% in the state of Texas, while we're seeing traffic go up in California, Arizona, and New Mexico. Now, are we ready to declare victory? Absolutely not, right? We still got a ways to go. But as we become more and more efficient and we see less and less traffic, we've got to be able to move swiftly to that threat as it continues to move and adjust to us. Having this base here makes us that. It makes us more efficient. It makes us more mobile. It puts all the troops together. And so I can tell you, I spent 10 years in the U.S. Navy, and I've never had a dining facility quite like this. I wish I would have had one this well. This is an outstanding base. Team Housing has done a phenomenal job. The crew in the dining facility, the living facilities is just phenomenal. And I want to give you one more number that I think that is very important. In the last 2 years, we've seen the traffic consistently decrease in Texas due to the efforts of Operation Lone Star with the soldiers and with DPS. By midnight tonight, Texas will have seen the lowest number of border crossings in 2 years since May of 2022. We're going to keep pushing, we're going to keep adjusting that threat, and having this base here is going to allow us to be that, to be more efficient, to more swiftly move back and forth. And it's just smart for taxpayers because, like the General said, we are saving taxpayers millions of dollars while improving the quality of life for our soldiers, right, who are continuing to fight and do this mission. And so we're going to keep pushing hard, we're going to keep adjusting to the threat, and this is going to help us be more efficient in doing so.
Thank you very much. We'll take a few questions. Go ahead. Well, so the desire to maintain control of Shelby Park is not long-term. That's a park that the residents of that community deserve to be able to use like they did before. But we got to remember this. When there were 5,000 people coming across the border a day into that park, the residents of Eagle Pass were not able to use that park. So the time that will come is going to be when there is operational control of the border in a way that restores the normalcy to Eagle Pass, Texas, the way that it's been for more than 100 years. I believe if we have a president in place who's going to enforce the laws that deny illegal entry into the United States of America, that will be a time when the residents of Eagle Pass will be able to get their park back. Sure. I'll answer the second question. I'll have the general answer the first question. So why is this needed? The fact of the matter is the people who are in charge of bringing people across the border illegally are the drug cartels. The drug cartels haven't closed down business. They haven't gone away. They're going to remain in operational control of the northern border of Mexico for a long time. The moment that we ratchet back the resistance that Texas has is the moment that the cartels will start shifting migrants away from Arizona to New Mexico and shift them right back into the state of Texas. And so we can not relent in our security of the border unless we have a president who's actually going to fully enforce the laws of the United States. And I cannot be more clear about what I'm about to say. There are 3 laws on the books already passed by Congress already that were inherited by Joe Biden that he simply is not complying with. One requires the president and his administration to deny illegal entry. The other is to detain anybody who does cross illegally. And the third is to build border barriers. He's not doing any of those 3 things that are required by law passed by Congress. Unless and until we have a president who does that, Texas is going to have to remain vigilant and use this as our primary staging base in the center of our border to make sure that Texas is doing everything possible to maintain operational control of the border in the state of Texas.
And to the second question, we have a contractor who does the hiring. It is my assumption that most of these people are coming from the local community due to the region that we're in. And the kind of second piece of that is this will be a great economic engine for this community as these soldiers move in and eat in the restaurants, go to the churches, buy gas in the gas stations. So we hope to have a great partnership with this community.
Go ahead.
Thank you. A couple of questions here. So the first one, this morning there was the second breach in 8 days on Rockland Air Force Base in Raleigh. Smuggling today, that from what I understand, the driver and the immigrants were still outstanding at
So you mentioned breaches of a military base here in Texas. To be clear, it's not just in the state of Texas where there have been breaches of military bases by people who have come across the border illegally. It's happened in other states also. And the reason why it's happening is because we have a federal government that's not securing our federal military bases and not securing the border that allows people to cross the border illegally and to penetrate those military bases. It's just outrageous that the Commander-in-Chief of the United States of America is not putting national security forefront, and a core component of national security is securing our military installations. So it shows how chaotic and non-compliant the president and the federal government are with regard to the immigration system that allows our military bases to be invaded. It's the federal government in charge of those military bases. Whenever something like that happens, though, we as a state escalate our activity to add even more support to the border areas where people may be getting across that would allow that penetration to take place.
And what would you do to ensure that that doesn't happen here on the state level at this base?
Well, I can assure you, we can only hope that someone would try to invade this base, because they would be apprehended immediately and prosecuted immediately. That said, we have a singular goal, and that's to continue to deny illegal entry, to provide not only the Department of Public Safety but also the National Guard with the tools and the strategies that actually make them more capable of denying illegal entry into our country and into our state. Goal one is to go beyond having a decline of 72% of people crossing the border, is a decline of 100% of people crossing the border. And because of the way that the National Guard is going to continue to expand their operations of building border barrier and then backing up that border barrier with National Guard troops who are armed with the tactics and the tools to be able to deny illegal entry, that will help us to continue to reduce the numbers of illegal immigration into the state of Texas.
Some people might say this is just symbolic, that they cannot do anything, that they don't have authority to arrest or to shoot. In real life, doctor, what this thing can do? What are the rules of engagement, if they are, for them?
You say if they are what?
I mean, what I'm saying is, okay, their presence here. Is this just some show of strength in the way that because of their in uniform, in military, that might be a terrorist? What is, can they arrest people? Can they shoot people? What can they do and what they cannot do?
So the Texas National Guard, Texas Military Department, working in conjunction with the Texas Department of Public Safety, together they have proven that they can successfully deny illegal entry into the state of Texas, into the United States, and those who do make it in are arrested and put in jail. It's a criminal violation for people to cross the barriers that have been constructed by the Texas National Guard. It's criminal trespass that will land them in jail, and that will make them subject to deportation, to repeat offender status, to all kinds of things that can increase any future imprisonment for any future violation. So what they're doing, they being the National Guard and Texas Department of Public Safety are doing, is proven by the reduction of crossings, by going from 5,000 to only 2 people a day crossing in Eagle Pass in Shelby Park, from the reduction of 72% of people crossing illegally in the state of Texas, while at the very same time the cartels have shifted those crossers to New Mexico, to California, to Arizona. So it's going up in other states that are posing no resistance, but it's going down in the state of Texas, where we have denied illegal entry into our state.
So let's say they find immigrants. Let's say they find immigrants. Okay, then they're unarmed. Let's say they find confront cartel people. Can they shoot back?
So arrests are made all the time. People who are working in collaboration with the cartels, the number of smugglers who have been arrested by the Texas Department of Public Safety has gone up, which I'm surprised about for this reason. I signed a law that imposes a mandatory minimum of 10 years behind bars for any of these smugglers who are arrested. Despite that law that's going to put these people behind bars for a very long time, the number of arrests of people on the Texas side involved in smuggling who work in collaboration with the cartels has gone up. Our job is to make sure we continue to make those arrests until we get all those people off the streets.
One more question. How much of the border, Maverick County border, is the military department securing along with the EPA?
Yeah, so how much of the Maverick County border is secured? Yeah.
The short answer is all of it.
Okay.
All of it?
Yes. So we have troops along the Maverick County border, and again, where
She'll be parked there.
Correct.
exactly, and what I talked about is we have 13 projects either completed or underway or in the works.
Thank you.
All right.
Is this facility on an as-needed basis, or is it a permanent facility that if and when the border crisis is over, will be used for other things?
So listen, no one knows the future of what's going to happen. The reality is this is a base that's going to be needed as long as people are crossing the border illegally into the state of Texas. And if you can tell me when that will end, that'd be fabulous. Thank you.